When a raised bed sinks, the answer is usually not to dump in a whole new load of soil. You can refresh the bed, rebuild its structure, and improve vegetable growth with a careful combination of finished compost, stable organic matter, light mulch, and minerals only when they are actually needed. The key is to understand what settled, what decomposed, and what the root zone needs now. Raised beds commonly lose height because repeated watering settles loose particles, while compost, roots, and other organic matter slowly break down. That shrinkage is normal. The concern is not the lower soil line by itself, but whether the bed has become compacted, poorly drained, or short of the airspace that roots need. A healthy root zone holds water without staying saturated. Begin with a simple check. Push a hand trowel into several areas of the bed, including the edges and the center. The soil should accept the tool without feeling like packed clay, and it should crumble rather than smear when slightly moist. Look for standing water after irrigation, a sour smell, or roots collecting in a hard layer. Those clues matter more than the bed's appearance from the outside. If the soil is shallow but still loose and well drained, add organic material from the surface instead of turning the whole bed over. Digging deeply through an established bed can disturb roots, fungal networks, and the natural layers that have already formed. Gently loosen only the planting area, then spread the amendment where future roots can reach it. Finished compost is the most useful general refresh material for many home beds. It is organic matter that has fully decomposed into a dark, crumbly material with an earthy smell and no recognizable fresh scraps. It improves aggregation, which means small soil particles bind into stable crumbs. Those crumbs create passages for air, water, and roots without making the bed excessively loose. Use a modest layer of finished compost and blend it into the upper soil rather than replacing the existing soil completely. Too much compost can create a very rich, soft surface that settles again, and repeated heavy applications may contribute to nutrient or salt buildup. The goal is to improve the soil you already have, not create a separate compost bed above it. Leaf mold is another valuable choice, especially when the bed feels dense or dries unevenly. Leaf mold is made from leaves that have decomposed into a soft, moisture-holding material. It usually contributes fewer immediately available nutrients than compost, but it supports a more resilient soil structure. In a vegetable bed, that makes it useful for improving texture without pushing fertility higher than the crop requires. Aged organic matter can also help, but avoid fresh manure, unfinished compost, or woody material that has not broken down. Fresh materials may heat as they decompose, compete temporarily for available nitrogen, or damage tender roots. If the material still looks like its original ingredients or smells strongly, let it mature before incorporating it into a planted bed. Minerals deserve a more measured approach. Gardeners often reach for lime, sulfur, rock products, or broad mineral blends whenever growth slows, but a mineral amendment is not a general soil tonic. Lime changes acidity and adds calcium, while sulfur can lower pH over time. Neither should be added simply because a bed has settled. A soil test is the sensible starting point when plants repeatedly show nutrient problems. Remember that poor growth does not always mean the soil lacks minerals. Waterlogged roots cannot take up nutrients efficiently, and compacted soil limits oxygen even when fertility is adequate. Yellow leaves, weak growth, or poor fruiting can result from several causes. Check drainage, watering, root health, and light before assuming that another amendment will solve the problem. When a bed is already planted, work around the crop's root zone rather than chopping through it. Vegetable roots are often concentrated near the surface, especially in recently refreshed soil. Add compost between plants, gently scratch it into the top layer, and water it in. For empty beds, you have more freedom to loosen the upper soil, remove large debris, and blend materials evenly before planting. Mulch protects the refreshed surface after planting. A light layer of clean shredded leaves, finished plant material, or another suitable organic mulch reduces evaporation, softens the impact of rain, and slows surface crusting. As it gradually breaks down, it returns organic matter to the bed. Mulch works best as a protective cover, not as a deep blanket mixed into the soil. Keep mulch slightly away from stems and crowns. When wet material rests directly against a stem, it can keep the plant base damp and reduce airflow. That does not mean mulch is dangerous. It means placement matters. Cover the soil between plants while leaving a small clear space around each stem, and inspect the surface occasionally for slugs or other pests that may use dense cover. Refresh the bed at the right time for the crop. Adding compost before planting gives the material time to settle and makes incorporation easier. After harvest, a surface application can protect the soil through a resting season, especially when paired with mulch or a living cover crop suited to your conditions. Avoid working wet soil, because handling it then can destroy the very structure you are trying to build. A practical seasonal checklist is simple. Measure the soil depth by checking several spots. Test drainage after watering. Remove only obvious debris. Add finished compost or leaf mold according to the bed's condition, and reserve mineral amendments for a demonstrated need. Finish with a protective mulch layer. This sequence treats the bed as a living system instead of a container that must be emptied and rebuilt. Over time, watch the results rather than judging the refresh by color alone. Water should enter the surface without immediately pooling, and it should not run straight off a crusted bed. Roots should be able to explore the soil, while the bed still drains between waterings. Steadier moisture and better structure can support more consistent vegetable growth, but good results come from repeating modest improvements rather than making one extreme amendment. A sunken raised bed is often asking for structure, not more stuff. Keep the existing soil when it is healthy. Add mature organic matter. Use leaf mold when texture and moisture balance need help. Mulch the surface, and test before adding minerals. That approach protects established roots, supports soil life, and prepares the bed for stronger growth in the next planting. The more you understand your garden, the bigger your harvest can become. Subscribe to the Infinite Harvest and keep growing.